Hey, good morning, guys. Jaden and I finished Stranger Things this morning. It was okay. I think I expected it to be a lot worse than it was. Kind of the reason I'm making this is just to put my thoughts out there because I feel like, I was trying to avoid spoilers as much as I could. But it was kind of hard to avoid, just seeing people, scrolling through the YouTube homepage and just seeing like Stranger Things season 5 sucks. I didn't get it spoiled for me, but I was really expecting it to like suck major ass. Um, I really didn't think it was that bad. Was it amazing? No, for sure no. But I I was watching it and I was like, okay, where's the part that's gonna piss me off? Where's the part that's gonna piss me off? It didn't really come. Like it didn't really piss me off. There was definitely some things that made me like, what? But we'll get into that. I don't think it was as bad as people are acting like it is. One of the first things that kind of made me, raise my eyebrow a little bit was, this whole thing happens. We're gonna get into spoilers, so if you still haven't watched Stranger Things, don't listen to me anymore. So they do the whole thing in the Upside Down. They start the C4, so it's gonna blow up the exotic matter, and the Upside Down is gonna be gone, And so they saved all the kids, and everyone's heading back to the right side up, right? And then they get ambushed by the military. So, okay, side note, I'm not a huge fan of how the military was like such a big bad throughout the entire show, really. I mean, I understand that, Dr. K is evil and she wants to recreate this program that caused so much harm and everything. Well, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe they could have worked together a little bit more, considering that the entire fucking population of humanity was gonna die if Vecna, I assume that's what would happen. He was gonna, destroy the world. I wish there was a little bit more like, hey, maybe the military's gonna work with us. I almost saw that in Dr. Owens, and I really liked Dr. Owens as a character. He just disappeared, I feel like. Like he got beat up in that bunker, I think, in season 4, and I feel like we never saw. Did he die? I don't remember. Anyways, yeah, so I don't really like how the military was a big bad, but I can understand it. Sometimes they're just not nice people. So our crew's coming out of the Upside Down, and the military ambushes them, and they're all getting pinned up against the trucks, getting arrested, or well, I don't think they got put in handcuffs or whatever, but their point is they're all they got ambushed. They're being restrained, and then everything happens. It's whatever, and then we jump in time 18 months later, and they're playing D&D. Joyce and Hopper are on a date at Enzo's. Mike's sitting at where Elle died. We'll get into that in a minute. And I'm like, what? I understand that they did save the world, right? They defeated Vecna. Everyone in the whole world would be dead if they didn't do that. So they did save a lot of lives. But they also killed a lot of people. Nancy has mowed down so many people, and Hopper has killed so many people. And, they've killed a lot of people. Nancy and Hopper are just the first people that come to mind. How are they free? Even just the murder aside, how are they not, in custody? Or how did the government not kill them for knowing about all this shit? You know what I mean? So it's I don't know. I feel like them being let free was kind of weird to me. As soon as we were laying in bed watching it and it said 18 months later, and as soon as I saw that the characters were just living normal lives, I'm like, what? It doesn't just wrap up like that. I don't think that's realistic. Well, I don't think anything in the show is realistic, but you never know. That just kind of irked me. I think it was wrapped up in a really pretty bow. Nice. Salem wanted to come share her thoughts. Oh, just kidding. No, she didn't. Okay, anyways. I feel like everything got wrapped up in a really pretty bow when the situation is not something that can be wrapped up in a really pretty bow. But whatever. So that kind of irked me, but I was kind of open to the idea that maybe the military or whatever was like, hey, you saved the world, you killed a lot of people, you did a lot of bad things, but if you didn't do that, we would be in a way bigger shitstorm. So we'll let you move on. But I wish that was, if that's the case, I wish that it was at least shown, you know, some sort of like, I don't know, just like some scene of like Dr. K or someone being like, yeah, they're fine, or like, you know, them explaining everything that happened, and then the military being like, oh, okay, we get it now. Like, something like that. It made me very confused. I feel like that was, like, how did the military just disappear? They just don't care anymore? There's probably a lot of other plot holes, you know, of similar severity or importance or whatever throughout the entire series, but I have really bad memory, so I'm just kind of, you know, this is stuff off the top of my head, like we just finished this show an hour and a half ago. The other thing is supposedly 11 got sucked into nothingness, right? The wormhole like blew up or whatever, and 11 was sucked into space-time nothingness and died, right? Afterwards, in a scene, you know, they're all playing D&D, and then Mike starts going on this spiel about, you know, talking about them like they're D&D characters, and it's like, oh, Will the Wise, you know, he found a place with acceptance, and he's in like a gay bar, and then, you know, Dustin the Bard was hungry for knowledge and went to study the Library of Alexandria or something, I don't know. And then he's like, but we can never tell the true story of the mage. And they're like, what? The true story? And then he starts talking about how Kali, the sister, Jane's sister, cast a spell, used her powers to make it look like Elle got sucked away in the wormhole, but she actually escaped and is now like off hiking somewhere to find, you know, somewhere with 3 waterfalls. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. I really don't, because Callie's fucking dead. We watched her die. And you could argue the same thing, like, oh, well, we watched Hopper die at the end of season 3, but then season 4, he's alive. I feel like Hopper's death was kind of off-screen. Like we saw an explosion where he was standing, but we didn't see, like, his body, like, Joyce, tell 11, I'm sorry. Like, we didn't get anything like that. It was just like, Hopper's dead, guys. And then he came back. I feel like we pretty clearly saw Kali die. Or, no, it even showed, like, you know, Kali being like, my story was always going to end here. Like, we saw her die. But anyway, so Mike's talking like she cast a spell to make it look like Elle. Yeah, escaped. That kind of, okay, here's my thing. Obviously, we've been following these characters for years, right? I mean, I've only been watching for months. We watched this kind of in a couple months, but this show's been going on for like 10 years. Like, we like these characters. I don't want these characters to die. But I want it to feel like there's something at stake, right? You know, it was just kind of like, they didn't really kill it. I mean, they killed Kali, but no one else died. Well, then Elle dies, right? Well, then they undermine it with the, oh, well, she actually escaped. And I think the implication is, because Mike says, like, she casted one last spell. So the implication is that she helps Elle escape, and then she dies. So this character dies and then comes back to life, or supposedly didn't die, and then helps, and then dies. Or, like, what? She was already dead. I don't know. And then them, you know, kind of going back on 11 dying is just like, you guys don't need to, like, reserve these characters for another season. Like, you know that, right? This was the final season. We can we can kill people. Like I said, I didn't want anyone to die, but I feel like so much throughout this series, there was, like, such strong plot armor on the main characters. And yeah, you know, some characters, you know, they have killed some characters that fans liked, you know, Eddie, Billy. Did people like Billy? I don't know. I wasn't really that fond of Billy. Bob, you know, like, people have died for sure, but none of the main crew, you know, they're not going to kill Dustin or Steve or Max or, like, even almost main characters, but not quite, like Erica. I don't think they'd have the balls to kill Erica. Well, I know they wouldn't have the balls to kill Erica because the show's over and she's still alive. There's a hair in my eye. Anyway, it just felt like there was nothing at stake, and so it was almost kind of satisfying. Like, oh my god, not satisfying, but just like, oh shit, this is real. Like, Kali wasn't really a main character, but like, Elle just died. Like, she's gone. This is real. And then they're like, she's hiking the mountains. And I'm like, dude, what do we need her for? You don't need her for anything. Like, just fucking kill someone. Nothing was ever at stake. Nothing was ever at stake. So that's it. Also, I want to touch on Will specifically. This point kind of came to mind after we had finished watching, but I feel like Will kind of, his powers very much felt like we kind of need him to have powers, you know? Jaden was watching a video before he left my house this morning that had said something like, what did it say? It was like, it would be cool if, you know, Will didn't know he had these powers and he's just now finding out about them, and there had been, like, references to it sprinkled in throughout the series, you know. And obviously Will didn't know he had these abilities, like, maybe he's just getting them or something. But I don't know. It just kind of, to me personally, it didn't feel like that natural of a thing that's happening. It's more of a, well, Elle and Kali aren't going to be able to beat, you know, Vecna on their own, so we need one more person. And I did really like that scene where Will hijacked into Vecna when he was like, you know, he had Max and he was like, ah! and then he went, run! I think that was funny. I like that. Yeah, so that's my off the top of my head stuff to bitch about for the finale. I did write down a couple things over here, things I wanted to touch on that aren't necessarily off the top of my head, but just kind of complaints that I have. I think in the last 2 seasons, the line delivery got really bad. I gotta say it. I'm no actor. I can hardly deliver my own lines, my own spoken lines, and I don't have written lines. I'm just talking. But sometimes, especially with Will, sometimes I can tell that they wrote in the script, this character is stuttering, or however a script is written, and then Will went, I don't know what to do. Can we get a retake on that? Like, it's just so forced sometimes. And I think Will stood out to me the most as, like, some, like, what the fuck? Like, he is reading from a script. I think Max might have had a couple lines that I was like, wow. But I don't remember off the top of my head. Mike as well sometimes. Also, Elle was making some really funny faces. I like that one scene. Oh my god, I can't remember what was happening, but I've seen so many clips of it. And when I finally saw it in the show, I was like, oh, it's a funny scene. I think, like, someone ran past her or something, and she, like, watched them. She was like, or, like, some shit like that. I think it definitely got a little bit difficult to watch. Wow, my hair is crazy. Sorry. I think it definitely got pretty tough in these last couple seasons. Overall, it's a good show. I enjoyed it. I would recommend watching it with a friend so you have someone to laugh with, because, again, towards those later seasons, there's moments where it is, like, hard to, like, it's like you gotta laugh, otherwise you're just gonna be like, is this what I'm spending my time watching? Like, especially, oh my god, season 4 with Eddie Munson. Maybe I had some preconceived, like, prejudices against those kids that show up to school in Hellfire Club t-shirts IRL. Like, I almost cried when he's talking about the kids that play a game where you throw balls into laundry baskets. Oh my god, shut up, shut up, shut up. You gotta have someone to laugh with. But yeah, I'd probably rewatch it. I wouldn't get invested, like, super crazy heavily, because I feel like there's a lot of things that if they make me this worked up as a, yeah, I watched it, it was fine kind of fan, then if you're, like, into it, you'd probably get really pissed off if you're, anything like me. So, yeah, not as bad as people were making it out to be. There's things that got me worked up. There's things that I didn't like, but there's things that I like too, I think the Mind Flayer looked really cool. The Mind Flayer when he was up in the abyss. I thought he looked really cool. Vecna himself looked kind of cool. I like how they kind of upgraded. He evolved between season 4 and season 5, like visually. So he looks really cool. Holly, I liked her. She was very brave. Her performance was good. That kid does have iPhone face, I gotta say. But, she did good. I liked Henry's backstory a little bit. I do want to know what that stone was that turned him into Vecna. That was never explained. Also, when Henry was, like, reliving that memory, and Will was like, see, it was never you. It was never you. You were being controlled. Help us fight against this. I was really getting excited because I was like, oh my god, he's going to have a change of heart. Everything's going to be okay. And then Henry went, no. And at the time, I was like, no. But I think looking at it overall, I am glad that they did that, because if he just went, you're right, then it would be like, it would be too nice. You know what I mean? And this already, like I said, I feel like it wrapped up in a way nicer bow than it should have. I think if Henry was just like, you're right, let me stop you, Mind Flayer. Ha! Then it would have been like, this is the finale? Actually, I don't know if that was in the finale episode. I don't remember. But yeah, so, good show. Wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. So, yeah. That's my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Bye.